Long before turtles got all in your face, started eating pizza and brandishing martial arts ephemera, there existed a far more wholesome totem for these gentle creatures. Turpin is a game in which you control a mother turtle in a surreal rescue of her babies, the kid turtles, from the clutches of demented insects in an 8-story tower block. Turpin was released in 1981 by Sega, yet it wasn't until the late 1980s that I chanced upon this game in a small seaside video games arcade in West Wales. It caught my eye as it was the most pathetic thing I'd ever seen. The cabinet was covered in knocks and scrapes, and it was shoved just inside the glass door, where a generous dose of UV rays was intent on degrading its artwork. In the centre of the controls stood a bare metal stick, the plastic grip having long since been torn off. This is the part where I may be expected to relate that I fed in some coins and had a turtle-inspired epiphany, but no. Instead I nudged my brother and we laughed at the feeble graphics and headed off towards the dark recesses of the arcade. Despite its lack of prowess, Turpin has always remained in my mind, mainly due to a sense of guilt I feel at the way I callously mocked the poor little machine. Over 20 years later, and thanks to emulation, I'm pushing in the virtual coins and finally attempting to get that epiphany in a half shell. Turpin is Pac-Man inspired, so the play area is a maze, which must be negotiated while avoiding the enemies. Yet instead of mindlessly darting around chomping up dots, Turpin has you opening mystery boxes, some of which contain your tiny offspring and some enemy beetles. Once a kid turtle is retrieved from its box, it will climb onto its mother's shell and hold on until you drop it off at the turtle house, which will appear in one of the 4 corners of the maze. To defend yourself, a shell is apparently not enough, the mother turtle can pick up bug bombs and drop these to stun the beetles, at which point they can be walked past safely. Bombs can be topped up by passing over the star icon at the centre of the maze. As more mystery boxes are opened and more beetles released, the action gets increasingly difficult, with many enemies dashing around the maze intent on chewing up you and your progeny. Once all the kid turtles are rescued, you move up a floor and repeat the process, with the maze layout changing every 2 floors. After all 8 floors of what appears to be the Sega headquarters are complete, the task begins anew with added difficulty. Now, this game was actually ported to some home systems. In 1981, Stern Electronics created Turtles, which was adapted from an earlier Konami arcade game named 600, in which turtles are chased by cars around a maze. Stern replaced the cars with beetles, although the Turtles arcade cabinet artwork oddly still has the image of a car bearing down on a hapless turtle. The gameplay was also tweaked, with the mother turtle returning each baby individually instead of all in one heap at the end. Turtles was then licensed to Sega, who chose to rename the game Turpin for unknown reasons. Turtles was nowhere near as hugely successful as Pac-Man. However, the game was deemed popular enough to be ported to several home systems, albeit pretty obscure ones: the Magnavox Odyssey 2, the Arcade 2001, and the NTEX Adventure Vision. Well, with the guilt now erased, I find myself drawn to this game, and despite its often frustrating gameplay, I find it hard to get angry at the mother turtle, whose only concern is in the well-being of her baby turtles. It's just a shame they had to grow up into the sewer-dwelling ninja variety. Thanks for watching.